And now, Dror, where are you? You're here. Great. Dror Bin needs no introduction, the CEO of the Israel Innovation Authority. Thank you for coming and being with us. Stage is yours.
Hello, good morning. It's a real pleasure to be here today. In the next coming minutes, I would like to speak about artificial intelligence. You know, all of us are very busy being afraid of artificial intelligence, how it will affect our privacy, will it create prejudice, etc. I would like to argue in the next coming minutes that actually AI is going to save us. All of us are very busy, including me, by the way, in the last few weeks playing with ChatGPT, creating original text, and also with DALL-E, creating original paintings. But actually, AI is going to change our lives in a much more fundamental way than just creating new text and paintings. And this is what I would like to speak about. Okay. Why isn't it moving? Is it? Oh, good. Okay, so I know that there are many people from abroad in the audience, so before I start, I will shortly introduce the Innovation Authority. Well, we are a corporate which is funded by the Israeli government, responsible for increasing the competitiveness of the Israeli Innovation Hub. You know that there are many innovation hubs in the world. All of them are competing for resources, for venture funds, for entrepreneurs, talents, etc. And we want to make sure that the unique position of Israel is strengthened and maintained in this global competition. We fulfill this mission in two ways. First of all, we directly invest in high-risk, disruptive technologies. Whether it's a startup or a technological infrastructure, we invest every year something like $500 million, which makes us probably the largest investment fund in the country. The second mode of operation is facilitating. We identify barriers for the Israeli high-tech growth, and we remove them by working with other government agencies, with the academia, with the industry bodies, in order to remove those barriers. Now, let's talk about humanity's challenges. Well, believe it or not, there are going to be a lot of changes in the next 3 decades. The world's population is going to keep growing, and we are going to reach about 10 billion people on this planet. Life expectancy is going to grow as well. Just to give you a few numbers, today there are about 1 billion people above the age of 60 in the world. By 2050, it's going to double itself to become 2 billion. Amount of people above the age of 85 is going to triple and reach 500 million people in 2050. Population density, therefore, is going to grow. Number of cars on the roads is going to more than to double, and global economy is also going to double. And when you look upon these numbers, you ask yourself a question: how are we going to do it? Is it possible to keep on growing the economy, the population, in a sustainable way? We are all dealing with climate change, climate warming. So how are we going to mitigate this climate warming? How are we going to adapt to it? How are we going to provide healthcare to so many people? So all of these are challenges that it's very difficult to imagine how humanity is going to solve them. Because, for instance, climate change. In order to climate change trends to change, we need one of 3 things to happen. The first one is consumer habits change, meaning each one of us is going to eat less food, less warm his house, less use cars and planes. I don't think this is going to happen. The second thing that can change is policymakers getting together and creating a global policy to reduce emissions. Looking at the work being done by the UN for many years already, I also don't see this happening in the current geopolitical environment. The third thing, which I believe is the only leverage humanity has to solve this problem, is technological breakthroughs. And when we talk about technological breakthroughs, artificial intelligence is definitely one of them. And I want to give you a few examples how artificial intelligence is already coping with those challenges and is on its way to save us all. All the examples I'm going to give you are not imaginary. It's real companies, real startups here locally in Israel, which are working on these solutions, okay? So I will not mention names, not to offend anyone, but all the examples I'm going to give you are real live startups already working in the Israeli ecosystem. So let's talk about agriculture and food. We spoke about the population growth, how to provide healthy food to so many people. Well, artificial intelligence is already working on it, starting up with developing new kinds of crops through how do you grow them in a robotic environment with artificial intelligence monitoring the growth. I can give you an example from just last evening. I visited a startup who has a vertical farm of growing crops, which is without any humankind intervention. It's all done by robots, monitored by artificial intelligence, providing clean, healthy food in a vertical environment here in the southern area of Tel Aviv. Going also through optimization of supply chains. A lot of food today is created and manufactured and then wasted. How can we reduce that? All of that is already being done by artificial intelligence. Transportation, well, the obvious example of autonomous vehicles on our roads. I showed you before the number of cars and the density on the roads that is going to be here in 30 years. Well, autonomous vehicles, but on top of that, also real-time management of traffic. It's not only the matter of the supply of roads, but also the demand for travel. Speaking about drones, autonomous management of air area. So drones can take deliveries and in the future also people in the air instead of on the roads. All of that are things that people are already working on together with artificial intelligence. Energy, how do you develop new means of generating energy? How do you work on new means of storing the energy? Distribution of energy, all of that, solutions that are being developed today to make sure that we can get enough clean energy to support what we need on this planet. Industry, robots, optimization of manufacturing lines, listening to the machines in order to predict when they are going to malfunction. Again, things that are already happening. And obviously, health. Already today, artificial intelligence is discovering new drugs, is developing drugs which are precise, are specific for the different people, helping to do diagnostics, helping even to do surgeries. All of that is already happening. Well, it's not science fiction, and AI is here to stay, not only in cyber or commerce or search. It's going to really affect everything that we do on this planet. And just to show you that this is not imaginary, I want to show you some numbers. And actually, this is the first time we expose these numbers. We took a database of all the Israeli startups from Startup Nation Central, and we did an independent research in our research department on each and every one of these startups, which raised funds during the last few years. Which portion of its activity, of its R&D activity, can be attributed to artificial intelligence? Well, the numbers are stunning. You can see that in 2021, which was a peak year in fundraising in the Israeli high tech, $18 billion out of 27 overall that were raised in 2021, 60% can be attributed to artificial intelligence. But more than that, you can see in the stack, you can see the immediate suspects, right? Services, it's software as a services, and on top of that, enterprise software and cyber communication. Those are areas where we expect to see AI. But look on top of that, smart mobility, industrial tech, life sciences, agri-food, energy tech, all of them are already assimilating AI into their development and giving service processes. Again, today, not tomorrow, not the day after, it's happening today. The revolution, it's already in its process. But this is not enough for me, and I think that also Itzek referred to it. This is only the beginning of this amazing revolution. I want to share with you the Global AI Index, which is ranking different countries in terms of their AI ranking. Well, Israel is already in the fifth very respectable place in the world, only after much larger countries like US, China, United Kingdom, and Canada. I want to remind you all, Israel is a very small country, only 9 million people. But more interesting is to see the different categories. You can see that Israel is ranked 3 in commercialization of AI. It's ranked 5 in terms of talent. And it ranked 9th in terms of development. Where do we lag behind? We lag behind in the places which the government should be involved in, which is the government strategy, number 45, and the infrastructure, number 29. And this is exactly the reason why Itzik a few years ago was assigned with the task to bring up or to propose a national plan, which parts of it were already adopted. The first part was adopted a year and a half ago, and the second part is going to be adopted next week by the Israeli government. It's a heavy investment of about 1 billion shekels in government strategy, in infrastructure, in order to make sure that Israel at least sustains its very high ranking globally and maybe even improves it. This national plan includes several components. The first and maybe the most important one is academic excellence, investment in the academia, in the universities, in researchers, and in research in artificial intelligence, building a local high-performance computer, developing NLP for both Hebrew and Arabic, because they are not existing today in the right magnitude. Data accessibility, we have many databases today in the country which are not open for researchers and developers to use, and they are going to be opened up in the next coming years. Regulation, which is not stopping the adoption of artificial intelligence, but rather encouraging the adoption of artificial intelligence while protecting the public. AI in the public sector, we want to see how AI is going to transform the service that the citizens of Israel are getting from the government using artificial intelligence. And last but certainly not least, supporting startups in the ecosystem, in their developments, using and leveraging artificial intelligence. All of that is part of the national AI plan of the Israeli government, which is formed by a coalition of all the bodies of the government who are dealing with research and development, the Israeli Innovation Authority, Maf'ad that was mentioned before from the Ministry of Defense, the Directorate of Higher Education, etc., etc. So what is our vision to conclude my speech? We envision that by disrupting multiple markets, not only the usual markets of cyber and search and commerce, but also areas like food and energy and transportation and so forth, disrupting multiple markets with AI, the Israeli high-tech will play a leading role in solving humanity's most complex challenges. I hope that when we meet here again, maybe in 10 years from now, we can speak about this in past tense. Thank you very much.